Ensure that the subfloor is clear of debris and completely flat and level. The stud walls and the subfloor must be square and plumb. If the subfloor is not level, use a quick set self-leveling concrete or a rapid set thin set to level the floor and wait for it to be completely dry before installing the shower base. Do not use shims to level the shower base. Make sure the shower base fits properly over the drain location by dry fitting the shower base into position so that the drain pipe is centered in the drain hole and base fits tight against the studs. The entire bottom of the base must be in contact with the subfloor. The shower base will not drain properly if the subfloor surface is not level. Place a level on the threshold and nailing flanges of the shower base to ensure the base is level before gluing the base to the subfloor. The drain for the shower is purchased separately from the shower base, and we recommend using a brass compression type drain, such as the OD Brass 42150 or the Sioux Chief 827 2B series drain. A glue-in type drain in place of a compression drain works as well. If using a glue-in drain, make sure you use the correct glue for the type of drain you are using, such as glue for PVC, ABS, or a combination of the two. There are glue types for all applications. We will show the installation of the compression-style drain in this video. The first step is to attach the drain to the shower base. Begin by disassembling all 8 pieces of the drain to make sure you have every part. The 8 drain components are the drain body, the strainer, the rubber sealing washer, the friction washer, the locking ring, the rubber pipe gasket, the compression nut, and the internal wrench. If you are missing any of the individual parts, stop installation and return to the place of purchase for assistance. Make sure both sides of the shower base hole are clean and free of any debris. Apply a thick bead of 100% silicone sealant around the flange of the drain body where it rests against the shower base. Install the drain body through the hole in the top side of the shower base. Push and hold the drain body against the shower base. From the bottom side of the shower base, place the black rubber sealing washer, then friction washer, up over the threaded drain body. Be sure there are no obstructions and that the rubber sealing washer makes clean, even contact with the bottom of the shower base. Holding the drain body in place, engage the locking ring and tighten it up against the rubber sealing washer and friction washer. The friction washer is intended to protect and keep the rubber sealing washer from damage or buckling while the locking ring is threaded on and tightened up against the bottom of the shower base. Use large channel locks or a tool capable of securing the locking ring to tighten the locking ring against the drain body. Wipe away excess silicone that has squeezed out from the top side of the shower base. Cut a 5" by 5" opening in the subfloor to allow room for the drain. This can be done with an oscillating tool as shown, or a jigsaw. Ensure that the 2" drain pipe extends well above the surface of the subfloor and the height of the shower base. Place the shower base with the attached drain temporarily into the location where it will be installed. This is done in order to determine the exact finished height of the drain pipe. The pipe needs to be cut so that the top of the pipe finishes between 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch below the top of the drain body. With the shower base in place, mark the drain pipe where it is flush with the top of the drain body. Remove the base and mark the drain pipe again 1/2 to 3/4 inches below the previous mark. Cut the drain pipe using this newer second mark, so the top of the drain pipe will be the correct height. This can be done with an inside pipe cutter, mini grinder, or multi-tool. Put the base back in place to double-check the height is correct. Use a file or sandpaper to round and smooth the sharp edges on the outside end of the drain pipe. To prepare for applying adhesive, clean the subfloor and shower base so they are free from dust and debris. Adhesive should be applied in dots the size of a Hershey's Kiss, spaced at 3 to 4 inches, or heavy beads about 3 to 4 inches apart. Do not run a bead around the perimeter of the floor, as this will seal off the air that allows the adhesive to properly cure. Position and lower the base over the drain pipe so that the pipe comes up through the drain body. Once the base is lowered, adjust the pipe or base so that the pipe is centered within the drain body. Take a moment to walk on the base, helping to secure the base into the adhesive. From the top side of the shower base, push the rubber pipe gasket over the pipe with the tapered side up. Slide the gasket down over the pipe into the barrel until the bottom of the gasket rests against the bottom of the drain body. The top of the gasket should be flush with the top of the drain pipe or be slightly lower. Place the compression nut over the pipe and, using the internal wrench, thread the compression nut into the drain body over the gasket. Take care not to cross-thread. Tighten the compression nut completely to form a tight seal between the gasket and the pipe. Carefully remove the wrench and keep it for any necessary retightening. You may optionally fill the gap between the pipe and the ring with 100% silicone. Allow 24 hours for silicone to cure, then check for leaks. When the installation is complete, remove the adhesive cover from the strainer and snap it into the drain. Cover the shower base with cardboard or other protection for the remainder of the installation of your shower surround. Use shims if necessary to fill any space between the nailing flange and the studs. Drill 3/16" pilot holes near the top of the nailing flange at all stud locations. Apply a small amount of silicone into the pilot holes and use 1.5" stainless steel screws to secure the base to the studs. Be careful not to over-tighten the screws, as this could crack the nailing flange. Cut the shims flush with the top of the nailing flange. Allow 24 hours for the silicone to cure before using the shower base. Follow your local building codes when selecting your backer board or other substrate material. The bottom of the backer board should be installed so it is flush with the top of the nailing flange. The first step to installing your new bath surround is to glue the corner reinforcement flashing tape into the vertical corners. The flashing tape can be found in between the trim pieces and has been cut to the height of your wall panels, matching the kit style you have selected. When installed, it will produce straight, strong, watertight, and mold-resistant inside corners. Apply a generous bead of adhesive onto both walls about 3/4 inch away from the corner. Fold the tape at the center crease, then press the tape into the corner using a taping or putty knife. Adjust if necessary to create a straight line, and swipe up and down to nudge the flashing tape into the corner of the wall and to flatten out the corner. Repeat this process on the other vertical inside corner of your shower. You're now ready to begin the wall panel installation process. The back wall panel is the first panel to install. This panel needs to fit as close as possible into both the left and right corners of the back wall and snugly to the shower base. Keep in mind that the walls may not be square or plumb, so you'll need a series of measurements to achieve a tight fit. A great method is to draw a level line halfway up on your back wall, then draw a plumb line in the center of the back wall. These two lines represent measuring points. Measure and mark the distance from center plumb line to the right edge in 4 evenly spaced spots, and repeat these measurements on the left side of the plumb line. Next, measure and mark the distance from the horizontal level line to the shower base in 4 evenly spaced spots. Then, transfer these measurements to your panel for marking and cutting. A foolproof method of transferring these measurements is to draw it out on the back wall panel as shown. Once you've marked the inside measurement of your back wall, you can then cut off the unneeded portion. There are a variety of methods to cut your panels to fit your project. One method is scoring and snapping the panel using a sharp razor or utility knife. Score the panel from the top or image side. It might take 2 passes to get deep enough. Snap off the unwanted portion. Another method is the use of a jigsaw to cut the panel. This is a very safe way to get the job done. A jigsaw blade with down direction cutting teeth will give you a nice clean cut. A third method is to use an angle grinder. Whatever way you choose to cut your panel, you'll probably have a rough or wavy edge. You can clean up the cut edge of your panel by using a power plane or a belt sander. If you need to scribe the panel and trim just a little off, these tools are your best choice. Dry fit the panel and make sure you have a tight fit. Clean off the back panel and the back wall with a broom or a clean rag. You will now need to fill in the gap that will be created between the nailing flange and back panel once it is installed. You can use the scrap pieces from the back panel that you just cut. Trim them to size and use adhesive and scraps to fill in the space. Alternatively, you can fill the space in with extra adhesive. Apply the adhesive, placing dots the size of a Hershey's Kiss about 4 to 6 inches apart over the entire panel. If you choose, you may apply adhesive directly to the backer board instead of the panel. Either way, once the panel is in place, firmly push or pound the panel to full adhesion. Go ahead and be firm with pressure. Finally, remove the masking from the back wall panel. Now it's time to install the plumbing wall panel. The first step is to dry fit the plumbing wall panel into the corner against the back wall. Using a fine tip marker, scribe the plumbing wall panel to copy the contour of back wall. Trim the panel along the scribe line and dry fit the panel again. Repeat scribing and trimming until there is a tight fit in the corner. Next, you must decide if you would like the finished trim to rest on top of the shower threshold or on the outside of the threshold. You may even choose to split the difference and have the trim half on the threshold and half extending down to the floor. We will show the trim resting on top of the threshold. You'll need to measure and cut the holes for your plumbing fixtures. You will need both vertical and horizontal measurements for each pipe and valve. The vertical measurements are from the shower base to the center of the pipe or valve. The horizontal measurements are from the back wall to the center of each pipe or valve. Transfer these measurements to the panel. You are now ready to cut the holes and dry fit the panel. For the shower head pipe hole, you may use a 1 1/4 inch hole saw as shown, or a paddle bit of the same size. For the larger valve hole, you can use a 3 1/2 inch hole saw or mark a circle and cut it out with the jigsaw. If you're using a hole saw, drill a pilot hole in the center, then turn the panel over and cut the hole from the back. If using the jigsaw method, you'll need to pre-drill a small hole to fit your jigsaw blade. Now that your holes are cut, you can dry fit this panel and make minor adjustments to get a great fit. Once satisfied, go ahead and apply adhesive and install the panel. Lastly, remove the masking from the panel. Install the final sidewall panel. Repeat the process you just used for the plumbing wall panel, minus measuring and cutting holes for fixtures. Holding the side panel against the back wall and shower base, you will see how it needs to be scribed and trimmed to achieve a tight fit against the back wall and shower base. Once a tight fit is achieved, clean the wall and panel, apply adhesive, and install the side panel in the same manner as the other two wall panels. Remove the sidewall panel masking. The back wall trim piece is the first piece to be installed. Take a measurement above the back panel from wall to wall. Cut this piece to length. Since the length of this piece is from wall to wall, you'll need to notch the trim piece so it will accommodate the sidewall panel. Notice the 1/4 inch notch and the fit shown here. Remove the masking from the trim. Apply adhesive to the back of this trim piece, being careful not to get adhesive too close to the bottom lip. Notice that you may keep the trim piece from slipping down by applying a couple strips of painter's tape as shown. Alternatively, using a couple of 1 to 2 inch strips of double-faced tape will hold the trim piece in place while the adhesive cures. Place these strips about 30 inches apart on the back of the trim piece. Apply a thin bead of adhesive, being careful not to cover your double-faced tape, and install the trim piece, making sure that the piece is level. With the back wall trim piece securely in place, the next step is creating measurement marks for the short horizontal trim and the long upright vertical trim pieces. The easiest way to find and create these marks is to rest one end of a level on top of the back wall trim and hold it above the side panel. Find level, and with a pencil, make a line on the backer board near where you anticipate the vertical trim piece to be placed. Next, position the long vertical trim piece where you want it to be upon completion. You may rest this trim directly on the threshold or have the trim on the outside of the threshold, or split the difference with a notched trim piece extending down to the bathroom floor. Whichever of these possibilities you choose for your system, set the trim piece where you want it and rest the level against it. Next, position it so you have a perfectly plumb line. When plumb, make a mark along the trim intersecting the horizontal level line. Now you can make measurements for cutting the trim to length using these two lines. For the short horizontal trim, measure from the plumb line to the back wall trim piece. Next, measure from the floor or threshold to the level horizontal line. This will give you the measurement to cut the vertical trim piece. Mark the trim pieces accordingly and cut off the unwanted portion, making sure you are not cutting off the pre-mitered ends. Dry fit for accuracy, and when satisfied, pull off the protective masking but leave the last 10 to 12 inches on the mitered end in place. Clean the back of the trim from all dust and apply adhesive as you did on the back wall trim piece. A quick optional step now is to apply a thin bead of color-matching silicone to one of the mitered ends where the two pieces join. Install the trim pieces and gently pull off the remaining masking of the mitered ends. If it is necessary to clean up the silicone, a little denatured alcohol and a soft cloth works great. Repeat this process to install the trim pieces on the other side wall panel. Corner shelf. Start by drawing two level lines in the corner at a height you prefer for your shelf. You'll notice that there are pre-drilled holes in the bracket. Fold the bracket and position it into the corner with a slight downward slope. Fasten the bracket into place using the provided grabber screws in each of the 4 holes. Once in place, bend the front portion of the bracket over and then fold the little tab over to lock the bracket into place. Place the shelf over the bracket by gently spreading it apart. You can then determine if it fits correctly or needs a bit of scribing and trimming to achieve a nice tight fit. When satisfied with the fit, wipe the inside area of the shelf with a clean cloth to remove dust. Dry fit the shelf again to make sure you have a nice tight fit. Clean the level marks with a clean rag and denatured alcohol. Run a bead of silicone between the panel and the bracket top and bottom. Apply adhesive to the inside of the clamshell where it will make contact with the bracket and to the front of the bracket as shown. Gently spread the shelf apart and position over the bracket before releasing. Remove the masking from the corner shelf. Clean joints with denatured alcohol. Apply silicone where the corner shelf meets the wall panels. Tool the corners with a wet finger. Please allow at least 24 hours for the adhesive to cure before using your corner shelf. Remove any painter's tape from the trim. Clean and prep all joints with denatured alcohol or rubbing alcohol on a soft white cloth. This will remove the oils and dust from these joints, thus ensuring a good bond. Apply silicone to all joints where panels and trim meet the shower base, interior vertical joints, where panel meets panel, and where trim has overlapped and meets the panel. If you happen to get silicone smudges on your panels or trim, a soft cloth with a generous amount of denatured alcohol will help remove these. The exterior where trim meets sheetrock can be siliconed if your wall is already painted. If your bathroom walls are not painted, it is recommended to use a good painter's caulk and not 100% silicone. Paint will not adhere to silicone. Painter's caulk is easy to apply and cleans up with a wet rag or wet finger. Please allow at least 24 hours before installing plumbing fixtures and using your new shower surround.